Well, we're here doing a weekly wrap-up. Finally have enough breathing room to come back to the desk, do a lot of desk work, catch up. As you guys have been following us and been part of this journey, it has been a whirlwind of a couple weeks, and there's a lot even going on behind the scenes that we haven't been able to share. I'm going to share a few of those things today. A lot of cat updates, a lot of facility updates, but I know everybody is always wanting to know how the new residents are doing. And as you guys saw, Kim and Carl have settled in really nicely. They're very, very calm cats. Mango is definitely finding her way here at Sanctuary Life. She's recovering really well from her surgery. It's just amazing how young kittens and cubs just bounce right back. We are still working on getting her weaned, but if you follow the Instagram page at Mango the Cub, you will see a cute little thing today of a flashback, kind of a remembrance of Dash, something special that Dash used to do that most tigers didn't and lions have never had before. Mango had a little period of time with that as well. So it's a teaser. Go to Mango the Cub at Instagram. We're also going to show some of her trying to wean her. She's weaning herself in not a traditional way. So when Dash was getting weaned, he went from having Supreme or ground up chicken in his formula in his bottle, and then he graduated to lapping out of a bowl and kind of lapping that mixture, and then we would put more and more solids in it. I will tell you, Mango is a don't mix my peas with my carrots type of person. Doesn't want things touching on her plate. She wants her formula in her syringe, and because she will not drink out of a bottle, she will not even take a new nipple, even though it's the same manufacturer, same thing as the other nipple. She came from Canada. She's very particular. That syringe, because of the tip, you can't put a lot of ground meat into it. You can puree it, but you can't start giving her those textures that we can in a baby bottle. And so we have done everything from putting just formula on a plate to just ground and boiled meat on a plate to giving her a big piece of boneless boiled chicken. Anything that can try to get her interested. If you try to give her a little piece of boiled chicken and you put it anywhere near her face, she gives you the biggest look of disgust and just doesn't want it. I've even put some small boiled meat in her mouth, and the first thing she does is open her mouth and spit it right on the floor and look at me like it was horrible. So she is definitely different than Dash. Dash would have eaten anything you put in front of him as many times as you would put in front of him. Mango also, she's still on 4 feedings a day. Her morning feeding, she's pretty good at taking that in stride because obviously she's had a longer window of not being fed. But the rest of the day is a 45-minute process to get her about 320 to 40 mils into her each setting. And that is because you have to go in with her. She'll run right up and want to take some things out of the syringe, but just a little, and then she needs to show off. She needs to play. She needs to come back, have a little sip, then go do certain things. She just definitely is a character. She's lovely. She's absolutely lovely. And then her third feeding of the day, she's kind of similar that way. And then by her PM feeding, she wants to take that all. So right now, it's been Alyssa and I have been her primary caregivers doing all the feedings. We're splitting shifts, coming in early. Her first one's at 7, her last one's about 9 to 11 p.m. And so that's been hard on our schedule, but so well worth it. And now we're introducing a few more caretakers into the mix over the next few days. And the reason we don't do a lot of caretakers is she is not vaccinated yet. She's had 1 vaccine, but she's not protected. We also remember our caretakers are working in the food prep room where there's a lot of bacteria. They're out picking up poop in the enclosures. They're working with 150 plus cats. They are all completely capable of caring for Mango, but it is about the protection of keeping her world a little protected right now until she's got her full vaccines on board and her immunity is great. It's kind of what we did with Dash as well. We had just a few people doing direct feedings and things like that. So it is just a ball of fun, but I forget how much work it is. But that was just one thing going on with Kim and Carl settling in. For those of you that tuned in yesterday, you saw Dash got to move to a larger habitat. I saw quite a few comments of, oh no, why is Dash moving? Remember, we only move cats here at the sanctuary when it's to their benefit. And a lot of thought goes into it by the caretaking staff, even the vet staff, and I'm involved in those decisions. And we have cats that are older that we always want to move to the smaller habitats. And then we have cats like Dash that we've always wanted to give in a bigger habitat. But for a while we had him in a smaller space so that he was in close proximity to other tigers, you know, like Nova and Indy, hoping for a merger. We don't feel that we're ready for a merger of any of those cats, but we also know Dash really liked Indy. They did really well along the shared wall. So Indy had moved to Roar Ridge, and then we wanted Dash to move to Roar Ridge. Sadly, when we lost Elizabeth, Noah no longer needed that big habitat, and so Jeremy and Simon got the opportunity to go into even a bigger habitat than they were. So it's that domino effect again. It is so sad when a cat leaves us, but it does change the dynamic of the sanctuary and sometimes roommates and mergers, and so it's a very fluid process. Also with new rescues coming in, you know, we don't always know the cats that are coming to us or what their personalities or who can live next to who, and so sometimes that's a get to know them. Sometimes we know, like Kim and Carl from Aspen Valley, that they were really laid back cats. Our witness protection cats came with some different information, and so we had to find something suitable for one of our witness protection cats that has a history of not getting along with other cats on a shared wall. But Dash has settled in really quickly. I was reprimanding him a little bit because a week before the move, him and Nova were next to each other, and he decided he really liked Nova, and I had to remind him that no, Indy is his partner, even through a shared wall, and don't you dare move on in such a short time of being separated. So we know they'll just be fine, but it's just kind of that little soap opera we have going on here. We have the fence company here to starting the second healing habitat that you funded in Cattail Creek, and so we're so grateful for that. We already have a cat that needs that space, and so the sooner we can get it done, the better. So the fence company comes and sets the poles, and they'll do the chain link around the fence, and then usually our staff spends several weeks doing all the finishing work. From the roof detail to the skirting detail, that's the dig guard, I should say. From all the platforms, we plant trees. If there's not trees in there, we have to put the water buckets, the lockouts, the shift doors. We have to insulate the temperature controlled 10 by 20 building and run electric to it, put the kennel in it. So there is a lot of work. So we're so grateful that your donations allow us to hire a fence company, but that is letting them do kind of the big labor part and letting us finish the rest of the stuff that's really intricate for the cats. Oh, what else has been going on? Let's talk some moves and mergers. So, Dash moved, as you know. We talked about Jeremy and Simon moved to Feline Meadows. The Highlanders, which was, we call everybody the Highlanders, but the ones that were up in the team room, Rudy's group, we merged with 3 of the Highlanders and the Bengal that were in Rescue Bay. So we merged them with Lilith, Crystal, and Rolex. And I feel like, oh, and Savannah. I'm like, I know I'm missing one. And so that whole group moved to Catio Town. So when we moved them to Catio Town, just a few cats moved rooms. And so we don't always give sponsors the updates if they're just moving a different themed room into Catio Town. Unfortunately, there's just so many moves, unless it's a big move like Dash's. I know Dash's sponsor is going to get an update with some photos and a link to the video yesterday too, now that we know it's going to be a good fit for him. And so all those small cat moves take a lot of time. Now, it doesn't take as much manpower as moving Dash in a crate, but when you think of 11 littles having to be caught, especially some shy ones, and moving down, and then you saw that Mango moved into the jungle room, so it was Riku's group that was in the jungle room. So kind of what we did is we built, which was always the plan, kind of a merger kennel in the middle of Catio Town atrium. And we wanted a cat that either was coming into Catio Town to get used to it and figure out who they could live with, or a cat that could go in there but then also be in the central playroom all day long and then just get locked in at night for safety into their kind of 10 by 20 area. So Harley the Bengal has been the one doing that, and he's been doing great. He loves walking around the atrium and things. He loves, and even when his kennel door is open for the middle playroom, he usually is in his cat condo there. The only thing is that he loves to go and spray every kennel. I mean, it's why they're here. It's why we built Catio Town, right? So it's a little more cleanup for us. But then Riku and Bestie moved. I think a lot of the cats in Catio Town moved rooms, but not moved to a lot of places. The only two cats that really moved places is we moved Ferguson and Flynn, which is the Bengals from Sequest, back up to the teen room. We miss having the Highlander group up in the teen room and all our meetings, but when you had that many up there, it was destructive. It wasn't in their best interest. So they are loving the Catios. So Flynn and Ferguson, who we rescued from Sequest, are back upstairs and doing great. We also have Bodie, who's the Highlander, who merged in with Tiger, Edgar, and Josie. And then we still have Kojo, the one that merged down here with our group. So we almost have as many cats in the animal care center as we do in Catio Town. It is crazy. And there's still going to be more moves and mergers. So when Mango is big enough to move into an outdoor space and on grass, and again, that might be a month away, it really depends, then that opens up a room again, and we might move Coco Cine and everybody around again. It's always kind of a change game of seeing how they're doing. If we can give cats that are larger, younger, or have more cats into the larger areas, we will do that. Now for some vet updates. Most of the sponsors have been alerted of some of our vet updates, so now I can share widely with all of you. So good news is Jalapeno, who you know had the surgery on his leg twice and then had the amputation, and he's needed every 3 to 4 days being sedated for wound treatment on that surgery site. Today he's having his last wound treatment before he can go back out with his family. He's still going to be out with his family in a controlled environment in a smaller kennel, but he'll be able to get up and walk around and do more, and now he's at the healing stage where he should be fine. Now, when we've done amputations on other cats, they're up and healed within their 7 to 10 days, but Hal had, because we had done that plate and that tissue had gotten so necrotic when he was chewing on his incision, that he's had kind of a low-grade infection in his body for quite some time that we've been fighting, and that's why the healing process has needed so much help. But we're happy we're on the other side of that. During the Canada rescue and all that was going on, we not only had Hal that we're doing, but also Sushi, fishing cat Sushi, became under the weather. And I've been noticing that she'd been losing weight, and we had talked about it as a team because we wanted her to lose weight because she was such a chunk-a-monk. But then I said, okay, I have a question. Is she still losing weight because the diet is now too low because we used it to drop her, or is she losing weight for something else? And so we wanted to do an exam, and we were trying to decide if we did that before we went to Canada or when we came back, and we chose to do it the day before, and we're really glad we did. X-rays showed that she had a full belly, something that shouldn't have been because she hadn't eaten in about 15 hours. She should have been processing. So we did exploratory surgery. Dr. Campbell did exploratory surgery, and we found pretty much a whole quail in her belly, which is part of her diet, and she's been able to digest and eat that before, but this was not passing, and so it was causing a blockage even though it was a natural blockage. And we'd seen that under examination, she had lost quite a bit of weight, more so than she should have been on a diet. So we were very suspect of pancreatic insufficiency or kind of a GI disease. And so we sent out tests, and she does have pancreatic insufficiency, just like Aurora, just like Kamiko and Ripley. And it is something we are seeing more and more in captivity from these cats that have not had proper nutrition for a lot of their life. We also, Simba, the bobcat, has it. And it used to be we'd see one every 10 years, and now we have 5 or 6 cats with it. It's crazy. So we are supplementing her. She has done really well with her incision. She has not been happy about being in the hospital with us. And so today she got to graduate back out to her habitat, at least a small portion of her habitat. Just watching that, 10 to 12 day itchy time, but she's back to having a good appetite, and she'll be supplemented. So we hope she's on the mend, but she scared us for a little bit, especially when you have such an elusive cat, kind of like the Asian leopard cats that are really hard to see and always see what's going on. So that's Sushi. And then we have another big medical update. Alyssa Lilager. So Alyssa Lilager has always been on pain medication for what we thought were bad hips. And so when she gets sedated for exams, we x-ray her hips and her knees. And we haven't seen the much degenerative as we had in the past. Well, she was out with Leo. Leo was kind of trotting around, chasing her a little bit. And then one day they went to feed, and she wouldn't come up from the cave. And that was odd. And Leo was with her. And so they tried again, and finally they tried and they got her to come up, and we realized she was pretty much dragging one of her legs. And so we were really concerned that there was a dislocation or a break, but she was in a huge yard. So then we had to first get Leo away from her. And if you know anything about lion behavior, is that these boys get very protective over their girls. So it took a lot of encouragement to get him in the building. And then we had to get her to walk up close enough so that we could safely sedate her. And so that was a little bit of time. She did come in, and we were able to get her shifted. And it was bad storms here. Our vets came in, came in late at night, because that's when we were able to get her in a safe area to sedate her and work through those storms and everything to be able to x-ray her. And what we found is not great news, and it really hurt our hearts, but we x-rayed her, and nothing was broken in her hips, but in her spine, one of her vertebrae have all did changes, and one of the vertebrae has like a little mass in between the vertebrae, but it's also protruding into the vertebrae. So this is not an injury from Leo or being overzealous. This is a degenerative issue. We looked at all the options of spinal surgery and things like that, but when we looked at the rest of her vertebrae, they're very opaque. You can see through them, so they're not very strong. So the best thing we could do is medication treatment in hopes that she tweaks something. It can be like if you've thrown out your back and you just sneeze that day or something, if there's something there. We decided to do medical treatment to try and get the inflammation down. But it's very cautious because she still has a degenerative disease. So we did have to separate her from Leo, and we put her in 2 rooms. She's been on a lot of medical therapy for that. We're seeing an improvement. She is still guarded prognosis, but she is back walking. She's a little uncoordinated on one side, especially when she turns, but she's been able to hold herself up, walk through the guillotine back and forth in her rooms. And so Dr. Campbell's going to look at her today and see if she is approved to at least have outdoor holding yard access, because restriction, being quiet, and anti-inflammatory and muscle relaxers are the best. Now, we've seen huge improvements, like when Winona injured herself and things like that. The difference is Winona's was an injury, it wasn't a degenerative disease. What Alyssa has is a degenerative disease, but if we can get her calm and quiet, she's not going to be able to live with another cat based on how compromised that spine is. I think she will be fine with that. She's been alone. Leo, on the other time, it might be protesting a little bit. But she is so special to us and so special to everybody. It's just been kind of holding our breath and watching her every day. So we'll be happy then she can get outside access. She destroyed her water bucket last night, which is really positive sign. Her attitude is still there. She's been eating her medication well, but she's on high dose of medication. So we will keep you posted. Alyssa, somebody's asking how old she is. We thought she was 16, but we don't really have true records on her because she came from Tiger King. We do know, back when Teresa was even working here, we were treating her for what we thought was a hip issue, and it would keep flaring up and we'd see it. And that's even when she lived alone. Like, why is she walking so tucked? Why is she this? Well, we were x-raying what we thought was the problem, and when we've learned, we further up the back. And we don't know how we would have, if we would have seen it, if we would have x-rayed a different spot earlier on or not. We just weren't looking for that at that time. And especially even the day of when she wasn't walking and kind of dragging that back leg, even the vets thought it was a hip, but it's definitely a vertebrae issue. So keep her in your thoughts and prayers. We'll keep everybody updated. We do have some more news next week. We've had to say goodbye to some of our senior residents, and we will be sharing that news with sponsors. It has been a lot on the staff and caretakers here, and with the new residents, there is this hard thing. There's this place that you have to hold joy for the new animals you've saved. At the same time, you have to hold your heart for those that are going through emergency surgery like Sushi, or emergency issues like Alyssa, and those that we know we have to say goodbye to because they are older cats and just can't be with us anymore due to medical issues and body deteriorating. So we will be sharing some news next week, but please just give us a little bit of grace for us to mourn internally first and to let sponsor parents know directly, and then we will share that as what we can. But it's just it's a lot all at once, and I think this is just the new normal for sanctuary life, and I'm so grateful for the staff that still show up every day. I'm still grateful for our veterinarians who sometimes do 14 days in a row and all emergency surgeries and rescues. It is, I think when we talk to every other sanctuary and people in the animal world, it comes in waves. We know that. And then you get a good spell and you just hold on to that good spell. When you get a bad spell, those bad spells last a while. And we just have a higher geriatric population. The cats we rescue are way more compromised than the early years. In the early years, a lot of the sanctuaries were getting a year to 2 year old cats from private owners that just couldn't take care of them. Now we're getting these from all these substandard road closures, from cruelty neglect that has been cited for years and years, to malnutrition, to metabolic bone disease. It is just, it's a different world out there. It is definitely a different world for the behavior treatments we have to handle with new rescues a lot of the times, or the medical cases. So we will keep you posted on that. And on top of that, the rescues still don't stop. There's a serval that needs placement that right now we don't have an accredited sanctuary that has space. We have some other big cats that might need placement, and we're all seeing what we can do to find space. For a while we were all empty, but it comes in waves, just like the losses, the rescues do. And so we're hoping we can all benefit as many animals. The Canada case, we finally get to breathe a sigh of relief that Mango's here, her surgery's over, Kim and Carl are adjusting, but there's still work to be done. We are so thankful for the collaboration with so many people on this lion rescue case. And we've been sharing our side of it because we want Turpentine Creek, who is doing the other leg of the trip with the other lions, we want them to be able to share their work in it. But our work is not over. We are so grateful for the humane world of animals, for animals in Canada, that has really assisted in this rescue. We're so thankful Aspen Valley Wildlife Sanctuary that temporarily housed these animals and had really, as we continue to share the stories, not only Kiwi's story and Kim's story, the amount of ups and downs and emergencies in these cases that they really stepped up. And we're so grateful for Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. They've been our partner in this. They were actually even though we've been there a few times doing other things, Turpentine brought their entire rig and transport up when the animals needed to be moved from the roadside zoo to Aspen Valley, and our team was there to assist, but they brought their trailers and their crates and everything. So, and then they will be sharing their news about the cats that they're bringing home, but we're still involved behind the scenes because all of us want this to really be a rally cry for change for Canada. It is time that they have stricter legislation, but also that when they enact stricter legislation, they allow for sanctuaries in Canada, because we can't move every animal that needs it to the US. It's not fair to wait that extended period of import-export time while the animals are in limbo. And so we're really thankful that Aspen Valley has, with Humane World for Animals, has built this temporary facility for big cats, bears, and other carnivores if it's needed again. So there is a temporary fix, but we need a permanent fix of really getting stronger legislation in Canada and other countries. And as a collaboration, all of us plan to work towards that, so we'll keep you posted on that. During this case, we've also been involved with other facilities. Aspen Valley had been through so much with Kiwi's loss of life and her struggles that we reached out to our partners at the Wildlife Confiscation Network and an accredited zoo. At this point, I'm not, again, sharing all the information because it's not my story to tell, except we were working behind the scenes to get those resources in place to support Aspen Valley and the cats. So this collaboration and network goes past just our accredited sanctuaries. It goes international borders. We were able to get veterinarians because our vets have to get a temporary license to work, but we can't just run up there on a moment's notice. So it's been still a lot of behind the scenes to make sure that there is a sustainable plan for their cats until Turpentine Creek is able to bring them to their sanctuary, but also that the future cases like this, that there is a network up there that can support Aspen Valley and others like them that are doing the amazing work until these animals can get to their forever homes. So, and of course we have to thank all of you. So many of you stepped up for Mango's surgery. That was a wonderful birthday wish come true for me. Healing Habitats, to see that underway and being finished because you helped funded that. That's amazing, and we're hoping in the coming weeks we will get to introduce you to some four more very special cats that have had just as long a journey, a different journey, a lot of healing needed, a lot of intervention from our staff. Hoping we can introduce you to them too. They're very special, but when you look at the new residents, you have to also look at the witness protection cats that us and other sanctuaries are still working on behind the scenes at our sanctuaries that we can't share. I don't know a sanctuary right now that isn't overwhelmed, and when I've talked to Aspen Valley, they talk about how overwhelming this was, but that they felt completely supported the whole time, and that they would do it again if it meant helping the animals, that they're in it for the long haul to help the animals. So we're going to be sharing a little bit of video for them about Aspen Valley this afternoon, because I think it's great to be able to share the collaboration we do. I hear a lot of time and to share that it takes a village. And like I said, it's definitely follow Turpentine Creek in the coming weeks, months. They'll share with you when they can, and then we can share more about what we were doing behind the scenes along with them. But everybody's doing great work together, and there is so much more to be done. And so that's where I'm going to sign off, because it's time for me to go continue that work. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I know there was a lot to catch up on.